Hey guys, it's Kingdom Orange 2 here, and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so next on this list, I thought it would be fun to do Goldilocks by Robert Southey. This story is pretty short, but I'm gonna quickly recap it to give all of you guys a refresher, then I'll compare the franchises to it and end the video with my rankings. And like always, if there are any Goldilocks you feel that I have missed, feel free to comment them down below. So before your porridge gets cold, let's get right to it. Fairytale. 3 kind bears live together in the forest and each have their own porridge, bed, and chair. One day, they leave to wander through the woods as their porridge cools down. While they're gone, a young girl named Goldilocks breaks into their home. One after another, she tries each of the bears' porridge, bed, and chairs, with the littlest bear's options always being the ones that's not too this or not too that, but just right for Goldilocks. Eventually, she falls asleep on the littlest bear's bed, and when the bears find Goldilocks, she runs away screaming. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. The 7D. In the episode Goldilocks and the 7D, Goldilocks seeks shelter at the 7 Dwarfs' cottage after claiming that she was being chased by the 3 bears. Goldilocks is a vandal, but also very charming, and the dwarves let her stay as she has not only convinced them, but also the queen that there are dangerous bears on the loose. Eventually, though, the dwarves are summoned by Queen Delightful, who finds out the real side of the story from the 3 bears, and the episode ends with Goldilocks running away but using her charm on the 3 little pigs. Bratz. In the movie Bratz Kids Fairy Tales, Goldilocks is turned into a tree stump by Mother Gothel after trespassing at Rapunzel's tower. The Bratz eventually find her, believing that she is Chloe, but she tells them that's not the case and points them in the right direction. She later meets Rumpelstiltskin and also pretends to be the former fiancé of the prince, successfully convincing Cinderella's mother and stepsisters to return home. Yasmin then asks the fairy godmother if she can turn Rumpelstiltskin and Goldilocks back into their human selves, and she obliges, and the two of them push Mother Gothel down into a well. Burbank Animation. So in 1991, the mockbuster company Burbank Animation made a direct-to-TV special called Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Now this version of the fairy tale follows the typical story, but has Goldilocks befriend the bears before returning home to her parents. Unfortunately though, after she leaves, the bears are captured by a ringmaster and forced into the circus. After a while, Goldilocks and her family goes to the circus where she sees the 3 bears trapped in cages. Luckily though, she's able to free them all, and the movie ends with Goldilocks telling the youngest bear, Bartholomew, that while she can't live with him, she will make sure to visit and play with them often. Honestly, I can say that this movie got much better as it went along, and I like how the bears tied into the overall narrative of Goldilocks being lonely and wanting to make friends. Ever After High. So Goldilocks doesn't appear in the franchise, but the quote-unquote role of Goldilocks goes to her daughter, Blondie. Blondilocks seeks perfection in almost everything she does and has a high set of standards that she lives her life by. She is the host of a gossip TV show called Just Right and also has a knack for being able to pick any lock. It also appears that Blondie has already lived out her fairy tale destiny because when she takes the girls to the 3 Bears' house, they mention how she's already broken into their home. Now one thing I want to mention before we move on is that the writers created this storyline of Blondie being insecure about being a royal despite not actually descending from royalty, but I always found this plot to be kind of stupid because there are so many students at Ever After High who are royals but aren't royalty either. Goldie and Bear. Goldie and Bear was a Disney Junior show that ran from 2015 to 2018. The show centers around Goldilocks, aka Goldie, and the youngest of the 3 bears, Jack, as they go on adventures throughout Fairytale Forest. Now, I've only watched a couple of episodes, but what I do know is that the original fairy tale of Goldilocks is actually played out in the season 1 finale when Goldie met Bear. In this episode, Goldie's father recounts the story of how when Jack and Goldie first met, they didn't get along, as Jack was angry with Goldie for breaking into his home while trying to give them a homecoming invitation and damaging his things. Goldie returns to the 3 Bears' house and tries to apologize, but her and Jack become involved in a crazy adventure involving an oversized pumpkin. Eventually though, the two of them realize how much fun they had and that they shouldn't stay angry with each other. Yeah, this episode was all in all pretty cute, but I wouldn't waste my time watching the entire show. Happily Ever After. Fairy Tales for Every Child. This version of Goldilocks takes place in Jamaica. In the episode, Goldilocks is a troublemaker who manages to get away with naughty things by blaming the other students. One day, nobody comes out to play and she ends up running into the forest where she stumbles upon the 3 Bears' house. Like usual, she eats their porridge and sleeps in their beds, with the bear scaring her away when she wakes up. Though, over the course of this journey, she realizes that she truly wants to be friends and be honest, and the episode ends with her admitting to the teacher all of her wrongdoings. Happily never after. So Goldilocks plays a very, very, very small role in the Happily Never After sequel. She, along with Little Bo Peep, Little Red Riding Hood, and Snow White, are known as the Damsels, 4 best friends who love to go out and party. The girls later on become angry at Snow White when she speaks poorly about them after taking a bite from Lady Vane's poisoned apple. However, in the last scene of the movie, after Snow White reveals all the ways in which she has changed for the better, it seems like her friends have finally forgiven her. Puss in Boots. In the 2002 movie Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Goldilocks is the leader of the infamous Three Bears crime family. They intend to hire Puss in Boots to help them steal a map that displays the location of the wishing star. We find out later in the movie that Goldilocks is an orphan who was adopted by the Three Bears after stumbling across their cottage as a young girl. However, her secret desire is to find the wishing star and use its power to regain her biological family. During an argument, Goldilocks reveals the truth, and even though this upsets the bears, they still agree to help her. Eventually, they all find the location of the wishing star, and just as Goldilocks is about to make her wish, she instead uses it to save the life of Baby Bear. In the end, Goldilocks affirms to the Three Bears that they are her true family, and she decides to take over Jack Horner's pastry business. Simsala Grimm. In this episode of Simsala Grimm, Goldilocks' mother tells her to watch over the kittens while she is gone, but specifically warns her to not let the kittens outside. However, Goldilocks doesn't listen, and when she takes the kittens out to train them for the circus, they end up running away. Goldilocks, Doc Rock, and Yo-Yo go to search for the pets and stumble upon a cottage, believing the kittens may have gone in there. They don't find the kittens, but since the gang is all starving, they eat the Three Bears' porridge. Eventually, though, the Three Bears return home and chase the trio outside of their house. They find the kittens, but the bears follow Goldilocks, Doc Rock, and Yo-Yo all the way down to her mother's home. The bears explain the situation to Goldilocks' mother, who makes her apologize, and the episode ends with her mother inviting the bears inside for dinner, while Doc Rock and Yo-Yo make a new chair for the littlest bear after they broke her old one. Terrytoons. In 1939, an animation company who no longer exists named Terrytoons created a 6-minute short called The Three Bears. In this special, the Three Bears are like Italian immigrants, and Goldilocks breaks into their house and eats their spaghetti. Now initially, the bears are very angry with Goldilocks, but after she plays a song on the violin, they become so touched that they let her stay. Eventually, a hunter and his dog stumble across the bear's cottage. They burst inside and Goldilocks feeds the hunter spaghetti, distracting him while she throws his rifle into the fire. Goldilocks and the Three Bears eventually beat the hunter up and get him out of the house, and the special ends with everyone jamming to music. Unstable Fables. Unstable Fables, Goldilocks and the Three Bears is a 2008 feature that served as the 3rd movie in a trilogy of films created by the Jim Henson Company. In the movie, Goldilocks is a famous reality TV star who gives the Three Bears a house makeover as part of her show called Totally Fab Rehab. The episode is so successful that the network creates a new show for her that centers around Goldilocks moving in with the Three Bears as a camera crew films their day-to-day life. As the movie goes on, Goldilocks begins to grow out of her stuck-up and privileged attitude as she learns the true meaning of family and friendship. However, at the same time, the bears become obsessed with having money and getting famous. Eventually, though, the bears apologize for their bad behavior, and even though Goldilocks' talent manager wants her to move on to bigger and better projects, she realizes the bears are truly her family and decides to ditch the show and live with them. Okay, the last entry in this video is Wolves, Witches, and Giants. In this episode of Wolves, Witches, and Giants, the Three Bears move out of their cottage after constantly being harassed by a family of 3 wolves who eventually buy their old home. Goldilocks, who is actually friends with the Three Bears in this episode, goes into the cottage and eats the wolves' porridge, breaks their chairs, and sleeps in their beds. The wolves return home and confront her, causing Goldilocks to run away. However, in the end, the wolves are evicted from the cottage for not paying their council tax. Now it's time for the rankings. Number 12 is the 7D. This Goldilocks irritated the heck out of me, and even though I understand that was the point of her storyline, I kind of wish one of the Three Bears would have eaten her. Number 11 is Wolves, Witches, and Giants. She looks like a celebrity whose name I can't figure out, and I mean this in the worst way possible. Number 10 is Happily Ever After, Fairytale Kids for Every Child. I'm happy that she changed for the better at the end of this episode, but I still don't trust this little troublemaker. However, I do like how the character designers gave her golden locks as sort of a play on the Fairytale's name. Number 9 is Burbank Animation. This Goldilocks has probably the most envious hair on this list, but I found her voice to become a bit annoying after a while. This girl also really needs some human friends too. Number 8 is Goldie Bear. Sometimes with these little kid shows, the main protagonist can come across really annoying, but I don't find that to be the case here. However, there's nothing really exciting about Goldie. I find her best friend Bread to be a way more interesting character and have a way cuter design. Number 7 is Puss in Boots. I think the backstory of Goldilocks wanting to find her family is very interesting, but in all honesty, I'm not crazy about her design, even though I will give her some points for it being extremely unique. I also just hated the fake Cockney accent Florence Pugh put on to play this character. Number 6 is Simsala Grimm. This episode had probably one of my favorite endings out of any of the Goldilocks stories on this list, but I really don't have any feelings towards this version of Goldilocks. She's kinda just there. Nothing really stands out to me about her personality or design, so that's why I put her on the middle of this list. Number 5 is Happily Never After. Even though I hate her group of friends, I secretly love Goldilocks. I believe it partly has to do with how pretty I think her character design is, or the fact that she's voiced by the amazing Kate Higgins. I do agree with Snow White, however, and think Goldilocks is a bit of a crybaby. Number 4 is Terrytoons. This version of Goldilocks not only has a pretty cute design, but can also kick butt. And to be fair to this Goldilocks, I'd much rather sneak into someone's house and eat their spaghetti rather than a gross bowl of porridge. Number 3 is Bratz. The Goldilocks in this movie has such funny one-liners and a great sense of humor. However, I hate that the designers got cheap and used a recolored model of Jade for her character design. Also, where was the doll line for this movie, MGA? Number 2 is Unstable Fables. This Goldilocks could have made it all the way to first place because I really love a dumb and full of herself blonde girl. However, then I found out that she was voiced by Britney Spears' evil little sister, Jamie Lynn. Regardless though, while the animation in this movie isn't the best, I did really like how Goldilocks sort of learned how to be a normal person during this film. Number 1 is Ever After High. I'm not gonna lie and say that Blondilocks doesn't get on my nerves from time to time. However, I can't take away that not only is she the most developed Goldilocks on this list in terms of personality, but also has the most stunning design. Everything about Blondie is so well researched and punny. I love how she can pick locks and nothing ever satisfies her. I also believe that besides Apple, she is one of my favorite dresses out of any Ever After High character. If you liked this video today and want to see more content in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you soon. Bye!